I like it. The stuff I live for here. Welcome to Real Talk at the Round Table with Coach William Forcom and Coach David Smith and Coach Jason Madsen. Wow, the weather is cold and the tea is hot, so I'm really feeling this tea right now. What about you guys?
So where are you from, Jason?
Orange County, California. Well, that's where I live, but I grew up in California.
Over there.
Right now, it is very rainy, as you can tell from the drops in my hair.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been rainy too here.
Well, not today, but we've got snow supposedly coming, but we don't really have snow. But people around here don't know what snow is. But yeah, we've got that coming Sunday.
It's frozen rain, right? That's what snow is. What do you mean by that, David?
You want to know what snow is? Go back to Michigan. We actually have to shovel the roof because it snows so much. It'll cave the roof in.
Oh, I see.
So if you don't shovel the roofs will cave in.
Especially those modular homes.
Oh, you don't even have those up there.
Oh, yeah. They're just like, we're not going to do that.
They won't handle up there.
Right.
Not like down here.
Right. Gotcha.
So anyhow. So getting into this, we are here on this unique podcast. Nobody does it like we do. I mean, this is live.
I'm sure somebody does.
Not live like this. Raw, unscripted. We have a topic, and that's it. And today, matter of fact, we have an interesting topic. Trust with a twist of personal development.
Trust with a twist of personal development.
So I know, Jason, you are a Ramsey preferred coach. We got you off of Mighty Networks. And so tell us a bit about you.
What do you want to know? I'm an open book.
Oh, I love that. Social security number, bank card.
It's no.
So we know you do financial coaching. Do you do other coaching as well, or is it just financial?
So I like to help other coaches in the area of prospecting, specifically with phone calls. I know the accountability piece is something that you can't ignore, right? Because the activity needs to be there in order to be consistent with getting different referral partners and leads, and you can't rely on just one lead source. And I like to ask a ton of questions, to get them to think differently about their situation so that they can move forward and make progress towards their goals, because everybody's got goals, and it's just, hey, what's holding you back, right? And what's the fear of this thing right here? Just got to pick it up and dial, smile and dial, right?
Smile and dial. They can hear you smiling. That's something that I heard really helped me a lot. Even if they can't see you, they can hear you smiling.
Right.
And the funny thing is if you pick this up and it's like, but I got a no, and I got a second no, you get depressed. The one trick that I have found is switch it into a game. How many no's can you get today? Because when you get so many no's, eventually you're going to find those gems that say yes. So if you count the no, if you stop looking for the yeses and just count the no's, the yeses will come. What kind of tricks do you know?
Well, it's interesting because I do a lot of reading, and specifically I've been reading The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino, and a quote that stuck out that I'd love to read now is, "I will persist until I succeed." And in one chapter, he says it 9 times within that. So it's got to be pretty important.
Yeah, that is key. And what was that quote again?
I will persist until I succeed.
And I love that because Gatorade did a commercial. And all the successful people, they showed their failures. Michael Jordan, the #1 basketball shooter in history. And they showed how he was failing so many times. And they were like, he had to fail in order to succeed. But nobody talks about the failures.
Yeah.
They only talk about his success.
Now, I've got a game for all of us to play real time. We've said it twice already. Let's say it 9 times during this podcast. During this podcast, before the ending of this podcast, we're going to say it 9 times, okay? We're going to count each time we say it, but it's got to be like totally improv. Okay, I will persist until I succeed. There's number 3, okay?
Well, what does that look like? If you're going to persist until you succeed, what does it look like?
Number 4 there. Now, we can't just bunch them all at once. That doesn't make for a fun game.
True.
Yeah, so we've got to.
What does it look like to you?
It looks like to me that I will kick down the door. Okay, I will not take. I will not take no for an answer. Like, really though, like we've got to be strategic. We can't just force ourselves upon people. But something senior coach Jeremy Miller said really stuck with me from Ramsey Solutions. He says, that cane down. For all of you who don't know, David has a sword in his cane.
Well, see, the thing is, I'm not going to have to force my way to kick the door down. I just showed this.
He'll Zorro it.
And, then they'll just, yeah.
It says, yes lives in the land of no.
Mm-hmm.
Yes lives in the land of no. So I love what you said, David. You said, count those no's, and then be persistent. That doesn't count. That's just the word. It's got to be the full quote. Be persistent
until you succeed.
Right? That's debatable. And if we can persist, and if our belief overcomes their disbelief, there is a magic that happens there. Ultimately, it's still, they still have the free volition to accept or deny, right? But I like how you turn it into a game.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you think of it this way, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jason. If we look at something as like a chore, right, and we're sitting there and we're struggling, I gotta find some yes. I need to make some money. Where are these yeses going to come? If we're focusing our mind on that, it'll never happen. Because if I'm talking to you, if I'm trying to win you, and I need your business, and if I'm like, I need Jason to sign up, I need him to sign up, you know it.
Right.
And you run away.
Yeah, you feel the pressure.
You're like, I don't need it.
Needy is creepy. Yep.
But if I turn it into a game, it's more joyful. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for the no's. It's funny because a lot of my clients I've signed up, I signed up when I wasn't even expecting them. Mm-hmm. I was counting them as a no, and they were like, well, do you have another spot for another client? Mm-hmm. Well, I won't say no. Right. I never said yes. I just said I won't say no. But when you go into it with the attitude, it's just a game.
That'd be some real reverse psychology there. They're like asking you to sign up, trying to pay you. You're like, no.
But that's a lot of my clients.
Here's a different way to play the game. So every time you get a no, I like to use acronyms. So every time you hear a no, it just means next opportunity, right? And you just move on to the next person.
Yes.
But you don't cancel them right away. See,
of course not.
The no's, I never cancel them. And one thing I do.
Maybe for today.
No, I don't even do that. I never tell you bye or things like that. I'll switch it up. I'll talk to you next time. See you later. Because I'm going to talk to them again. And it's putting that in their mind frame already. Yeah. I knew you were going to be a no, but I'll talk to you next time. Because what do you know?
Wait. You say that I knew you were going to be a no?
I don't have to say it out loud.
Okay, you say it in your mind.
Yeah, in your attitude. Gotcha. But think of it this way.
So they can hear you frowning at that point.
Pretty much. Just like they can hear you say, I need you, they can hear you, you don't really need them.
Right.
But think of it this way. When you're watching a TV show, right, or a movie or whatever you're watching, how many of the same commercial do you see? Sometimes in the same commercial, you'll see 2 of the same commercial, right? Why is that?
Marketing.
You have to typically see something 8 times before you acknowledge it.
There you go.
So repetition.
Push it through. So if I'm talking to Jason and I'm counting him as a no, even if he's like, wait, can you take another person on? But if I'm counting him as a no, I'm counting this as my first transaction with him. I'm looking for 7 more transactions before I look for the 9th one to be a yes. So I'm counting him as a no. Now, if he comes in and says, hey, look, and I've had most of my clients that sign up
I see what you mean.
actually ask me, it's like, well, can you take another client?
Like, I'm not even going to really ask.
Yeah, not yet.
Right, yeah. We're building trust. We're laying a groundwork for success. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens before you ask for business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will persist.
Persistence is key. Persist until you succeed.
Yeah, right on.
So, Jason, tell us, give us a little trick that you do when you're prospecting to make sure that you get the sale, but without sounding needy.
Yeah.
When I'm prospecting, I'm always trying to find a commonality and connection with the person that I'm talking to. And that could be networking with a referral partner. That could be somebody that I talked to back in high school. That could be a colleague. That could be whoever it is. And in my brain, I come up with ways to connect with them based on a recent event, or, hey, remember that one time, if it's somebody that's really close to me, especially if it happened pretty recently, like an in-person networking event, I will ask them, hey, what makes you really passionate about the type of work you do? I didn't ask them what do they do. I just, hey, what lights your fire? And then they tell me a story. And then it's like, oh, what do you do? It's like, you know how 80% of people are living paycheck to paycheck? They got all the things. And then that's when I jump into, well, I work with families to be able to reduce that stress and do that. But the tips and the strategies are making the connection, because it's not always going to be that first interaction that people are ready and willing to buy into. Oh, Jason, let's go, right? Let you handle my money and tell me how to do things. No, coaching is not that way. But the more times you get in touch with them, the more they see your content, the more they buy into you, and then say, is my situation horrible enough to make me want to connect and take that extra step, right? Because some people just want to live in whatever it is that they're in. And in order to change, oh, that's really hard. I don't know if I can do that. So that commonality is really what I'm looking for.
And it's funny. I love how you said networking. There's a very common site out there for networking. It starts with an A. I'm not really going to say the name of it. But when I'm on there, the biggest thing is you have to, you connect with people that you trust, like, and, you can connect with them. So, like, people that come on there very salesy, a lot of times you X them off and you don't even worry about them. But the people that you, over time and time, you find out a little bit more about them, a little bit more. It's like, wait, you know what? I need to work with this guy.
Right.
And on this specific site, I never look for clients. I will not buy your product, and I'm not looking to sell you mine.
Yeah.
But what I am looking for is to build a network with you.
Right.
And those are key people.
Yeah, and I don't want to do networking or business at all with somebody that is identifying with their trade. I want to do business with a brother or sister, that is them. David, who happens to be a financial coach or a personal development coach, right? Jason, that happens to be a coach. I don't want to just do business with coaches. I want to do business with Jason and with David, right? And Jason, something that you said, it was powerful. You said, I look for commonalities in the people that I'm prospecting with. And, you were just kind of playing that conversation out.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, so day to day, before I came to be a coach, it's just like, I didn't ask the questions. I didn't care what people did. But after it's like, after I became a coach, I had to fight that inward battle of, like, do I really care? Like, am I an authentic person? Am I William, who happens to be a coach?
Mm.
Or am I, like, trying to get their business? And the only reason that I care is because I'm trying to get their business. And it was really a hard battle that I had to fight, and still sometimes have to fight. But let me tell you, it gets easier, you know, for anybody that could be also fighting that battle. Coaching for me has been a 100% transformation, not only in what I do occupationally, but who I am.
Yeah.
Well, the key about being a coach, and I think you realize this, as a coach, we tell people that you need a coach. All successful people, they have at least one coach. Most people have multiple. I have 3 coaches I pay for myself. Now, that being said, as a coach, we realize the value of having a coach. Before we were a coach, like before I was a coach, I didn't have a coach.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Once I became a coach and realized the value, it's like, wait a second. If I'm putting this value out, I need that kind of value for myself too, because I need to be pushed, I need to be strengthened, because we get in our own way and we're thinking, oh, I'm good.
And I didn't know how hard it was to be a coach. Like, this is not easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is hard work. So I think having a coach definitely makes it possible.
Mm-hmm. And you know, one thing I have to say about that, I also went through ICF. When you go through ICF, they also put you through neurology. You actually learn how to read people, and actually, depending on what they do, you can actually, they talk to you without even speaking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so when I took that class and actually understood how the brain works and how we operate, that just opens the door a whole much more.
Right. I think it's 90% of communication is nonverbal. Yeah.
I had a conversation with a couple, and I think I asked maybe 4 questions the entire hour. Otherwise, they just started telling me everything. And for them, it was so therapeutic that they were able to hear themselves saying what has been going on, not just from one perspective, but from both perspectives, and then say, we need that additional accountability, because otherwise we're going to just continue to blame each other. We're going to continue to have these arguments. And that's where the real root was of their money issues. It's like, he goes and spends on big purchases. She's got all the small day-to-day purchases. And neither one are inherently bad, but if it's happening consistently, then that becomes the issue, because you're not actually achieving your goals.
Right.
You know? And you know, it's cool that you brought that up, because I know, like in my coaching practice, a lot of my clients, I've saved their marriages. Because when you get their finances, hold on, let me finish that.
I just want to challenge the heck out of that terminology right now. Hold on.
Okay, it'll be said in just a second.
Okay.
But in managing and learning how to finance, you build your communication better. By building your communication better, the relationship actually gets built stronger. So by being pushed and by being stretched about building their relationship, their marriage actually got strengthened.
I like that better. Hold on, let's get the cape. Joe, you got the cape. We can put on David here. Superman. Hey, he's
not about that.
He's saving marriages over here. That's what he's doing. He's saving them.
Well, see, the thing is, just like how you caught it, I say things to strike people to listen a little bit closer. Because if I was just to say something, a lot of times it'll brush over you. But when I say controversial things, it perks your ear up, like, what? And then you listen to the next things I say.
That's true. But we'll be held accountable for what we say. So you're welcome.
Well, you are held accountable, not necessarily for the words, but for the intent behind the actions and the word that you say.
Isn't it both?
Well, God looks at your intent behind it.
So we say what we mean and we mean what we say, right?
And also, if you cause another one to sin, you're also judged.
It's true.
So that's why we have to be careful. However, if I strike people to listen to me a little bit closer, I strike them to win. You know what? It brings me, let me ask you a question, Joe. Or John.
You just want to keep that cape on, don't you?
There ain't no cape. It ain't about me. After all, I'm an ambassador, right? It's not me. I'm just a representation of the kingdom where I belong.
That's it.
But it goes this way. There's 2 people. They died. They went to heaven. And St. Peter takes a cab driver, takes him to this mansion, this huge mansion, has everything. He says, this is yours for eternity. He takes the priest over to a shack way over yonder. He says, "This is yours for eternity." He says, "Sir, you've got this wrong. I'm the one that was preaching. I'm the one that was saving souls. He was the one that was driving a taxi."
Ooh.
He's like, "Sir, let me tell you something. When you were preaching, they were sleeping. When he was driving, they were praying." It's not the
Oh, that's funny, man. That is funny. That's funny.
And now a true story. I used to be a pastor, and there was 3 of us. We were completely opposite types of preachers. And I was more of a teacher. There was a guy from Atlanta, Georgia. He was a loud preacher. And then there was this Dalton, Georgia. He was a soft Southern Baptist. And one time we were driving, and he's like, "We need to put a cross here." And we're all shocked that he came from him. Now, from the other guy, it could come from. Now, I was driving a Lincoln Town Car, a big old boat at this time. And I've never been a person to drive slow. I'm a person to get where I'm going. Okay, I come from Detroit, so we drive efficiently. We're not crazy, but we drive efficiently. So the first time, the one from Dalton, Georgia, is a real soft pastor. First time he gets to his destination, he jumps out of the car, he kisses the ground. "I made it safe." You doubt it?
Efficiently.
I didn't know soft and Baptist could go together in the same sentence, but
Right?
Yeah, and he's a true Southern Baptist, but like when he preached, he was always very soft.
Yeah.
And he had a very kind heart, and he would win souls like that. And the other guy, he was a very loud evangelist preacher.
Those are the Southern Baptists that I know about.
He wasn't even Southern Baptist.
Who was the other guy?
He was an evangelist.
Okay.
That's more Pentecostal apostolic.
Well, yeah, evangelists can be any kind.
But the ones that claim it are usually apostolic or Pentecostal. Baptists don't claim to have evangelists.
Mm.
Baptists are pretty much very soft-spoken. They're very rules-based. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Matter of fact, the preacher, when I preached at his church, he was like, "Now, I believe the same thing you do, but when you say this, don't say it this way, say it this way. It means the same thing, but the church will accept it this way. They won't accept it this way." I'm like, okay. So there's just certain terminology. They all believe the same thing. It's just certain ways they do it, if that makes sense.
Know your flock, right?
Yeah.
We have to know our flock. Personal development in the light of trust. Personal development in the light of trust. I'm just trying to course correct. I feel like we're gotten off on an interesting tangent, but a tangent nonetheless.
Trust, like, and share. So we have to build our trust. We have to know you. We have to believe that when you say 3, that you mean 3 and you don't mean 33.
Yeah.
I like to. What do you like to do, Jason? Do you like to overpromise and hope you get there?
no.
How do you do that?
How do I do what specifically?
How do you promise? Because do you aim high and hope that you get close to it?
There was something that came to mind as you were saying that, and it was this mentality and culture from my very first job out of college, which was at a rental car company. And the mantra was under promise and over deliver. And that has stuck with me. And that has stuck with me ever since, right? But when I am communicating with the person across from me, whether it's on Zoom or in person, and we want to ignite a vision for what the future is going to look like, right? Because they're stuck in this mess. They're trying to figure out, how do I get out of this? I've tried all these things. I don't know how to move forward. What I do is, all right, close your eyes. Imagine this. You paid off all your debt. You have a fully funded emergency fund. You turn the key into your new home that you just closed on. you got all the furnishings everywhere you like them, and you don't have a care in the world because what you've done for the last 6 to 12 months has set you up for success. Kids are running around happy and joyful, and you go on a vacation and you come back and it doesn't follow you with your credit card bills. Every argument that you've had is really just a disagreement as you're communicating about money. And then I say, open your eyes.
Hallelujah.
What's coming to mind for you all?
Hard work pays off is what's coming to mind for me. And then something that you said, Jason, you said they're in a mess. You know, they've tried this, they've tried that, and they don't know what to try. And then we get to come alongside them as their guide, invaluable, and provide some sort of structure, stability, and a voice in the darkness, really, And I think that activity is awesome. I think that I'm gonna use it in my next session whenever prompted by the big guy. We do it together, But no, that is powerful. That's what the two things that came to my mind. Yeah, hard work pays off, and then the other. Yeah.
Now, if I can challenge you a little bit, do you mind if I challenge?
Please do. I don't mind at all. I said I was an open book, right?
So instead of leading them,
we'll get the numbers later.
Instead of leading them and telling them how their vision would look, what if, close your eyes and tell me what it looks like if you're completely debt-free and paid, all bills and everything's paid up, fully funded emergency fund. What does that look like for you? Where are you living? What kind of house is it? How big is it? How big of a property do you have? What would it look like if they build the vision?
And that's a powerful avenue as well. Because then they take ownership of the dream, of the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to evaluate based on what they just said and where they're at currently, and what is that action going to be, and the beliefs that they need to change in order to achieve that. So that's actually a really good point.
Yep. Yeah, what I like to do is the vision is 5 years out. Once they have the vision, 1 year out is your monster goal. Once you have the monster goal, every session that we have, we're going to have a SMART goal. Whether it's every week, every 2 weeks, every month, we're going to have SMART goals in between our sessions. The SMART goals lead up to the monster leads up to the vision. But you start high, you build your way to where you're working now. Because if you try to work now, they're never going to get there. But
it's reverse engineering.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they see it, they're going to be able to build to it.
That makes sense.
Yep.
So,
trust in the light of personal development. I will persist until I succeed.
So now, I love it, Will. You went from I want to I will.
Nah, I've never said I want.
So what does it look like for you to persist?
In what?
In reaching your success.
Concerning what?
What did you just say?
I will persist until I succeed.
So what are you going to persist in?
Oh, you're going to give me the reins? This is going to be good. You ready for this?
Go for it.
I have a vision that I will be preaching more. I am currently preaching, but I will be preaching more. And I will be pastoring a church. And I will have a wonderful, beautiful flock. Also be full-time coach, working the hours that I set. I'll have coaches under me. And we will be ambassadors of heaven, and it will be wonderful. It'll be so good.
So when is this going to happen?
Well,
Is this 5
good
years,
question.
10 years?
That would be my vision. So that would be 5.
Okay.
5.
So 5 years you'll be there.
2025. Now we're talking 2030.
So Jason, let me flip the question to you. How are you going to persist until you succeed?
The next big goal of ours is to buy a home cash.
How big of a house is it?
It's got to be at least 1,100 square feet.
3 bedrooms? 4 bedrooms?
3 bedrooms. It would be a bonus if we could have a 4th bedroom because I don't want to have to keep going to the libraries to take meetings.
Or you could just get an office.
That's true too. That could be on the horizon.
When you separate
With
your home from your business, it gives a little bit better of a practice because your mindset, you separate your, what happens at home is home, what happens at work is work.
That is so true. That is so true.
So how big of a property do you have?
I want to say half an acre, maybe an acre.
So you want a big house on a small land?
Enough place for a yard. My wife has had this vision for a long time of having a yard where the kids can run around and get dirty and play and everything's totally fine. So
what about 2 to 5 acres? What does that look like? That's too big for you. I just seen your eyes. You're like, whoa.
Like I've got a.
I don't know if I can afford a stand-up mower.
So I live out in the country, and a half acre is small. Half acre is going to be basically your house and very little grass. But if you get an acre, you have a little bit of a yard.
Yeah. This is helpful because I'm able to process through what does that look like.
And besides, you're completely debt-free. You own the house. Who said you can't pay a lawn care company to come in there?
Nobody said that.
Why do you have to put all the work on yourself? Because your words were, I don't know if I can afford a stand-up lawnmower.
Listen to that sneaky limiting belief coming in.
I know, right?
We're filled with them. I know that I am. As good as this is, it is time to open up the chat for questions. Anybody that's viewing that has questions, come on in here with your questions for Jason or for myself or for David. And while Jason, you and I were on the phone setting this whole thing up just a few days ago, right? It was a wonderful talk. It was so good. Thank you so much for meeting with me. I was blessed very much during and then shortly thereafter. And you were too, weren't you? Because you became an international coach right after that. I remember reading the post on Mighty Networks, our social media platform for us coaches. And tell us a little bit about that. Like, how'd that go?
I'm so excited to work with this couple. They split time between Ecuador and the States, but ultimately, when I met them, they were in Ecuador, and I saw the lead come through, and I was like, Ecuador, that's interesting. Hopefully there's not a language barrier. And there wasn't. They were able to speak perfect English, and I thought, man, this is such a great opportunity to be a vessel, to be a conduit, to show them what it would look like for them to have financial freedom and to strengthen their mindset and beliefs around how they handle money so that when they do have kids, when they do build a property of their own, they can go into it knowing that they're not going to be in bondage, they're not going to be shackled. And to claim myself as an international coach feels surreal because I never thought that it would amount to that. But now I know that anything is possible. And it's not by my doing.
Yeah.
It's all glory to God.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to say, I'm an international coach, but nothing like you. I have 3 clients now in Canada. That's as far as international I go. I have not been across seas.
Yeah. So I'm like flooded with questions about, kind of nerd-like questions, to be honest.
What, coming from you?
I know, right?
Now, this is a free spirit here.
Yeah, I'm a free spirit, but I still do all of the back work from payment processor and then creating the events and all that. Now, I like that. It's just I got to be in the right mood for it. It's like I got to catch myself in the right mood anyway. How did that look with the translation of the currencies? I don't even know what $1 in Ecuador is. In Ecuador, I don't even know what currency they use.
Now, they have the euro?
Yeah, I didn't do all of that research. I just know that there was a bank card that was used. And so I just said, great, we'll do it through Stripe. We'll call it a day. And we moved forward.
Stripe is awesome.
That's actually smart because no matter what country they are, they all have MasterCard Visa. Discover, I think, is only, United States. I think there are a couple countries, but they're not worldwide. American Express is, I think, mostly worldwide. But American MasterCard and Visa is definitely. So being that you accept that, if they're over in Japan and they're using Japan currency, their credit card would translate it for us in our currency. So they'll charge them whatever needs to be charged so we get our money. So I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. And you didn't even have to do research. You just sent them a link through Stripe. Stripe converted it. They paid it. And you got what you charged in dollars.
That's correct.
I like it. Props to Stripe.
Yeah. I actually have to give you props. I don't know if you did that just accidentally. Like with me, with my clients in Canada, I actually adjusted my price.
Oh, really?
So Canada's price would be here. America's price is here. So I charge them like this. I charge them kind of like in the middle.
Because you don't want to overcharge them.
Right. I wanted to try to give them a break. And some coaches.
David, I'm curious. Like my coaching ear just pricked up, right? So what made you want to do a reduction?
So when I got my first international client from Canada, I actually have family in Canada, so I understand Canada very well. And so I kind of felt bad, and I was like, well, should I bring the coaching price down to theirs, down to my price over in Canada, which means I take a huge pay cut, and the price that I was charging, I would lose $80 in the conversion. And some of the coaches were like, why would you cut anything off? Just charge full price. They know they have to pay more. Just let them pay more. And I was like, I can't do that to Canadians. And I went back and forth, and I said, you know what? I'll take, my cost, their cost, and I'll split the difference. I'll go in the middle. So I'll take a little bit of a pay cut, but I'll win their hearts, because most people don't do that.
So instead of 80, it was 40.
Yeah. So that's kind of like my thinking, because I know a lot of Canadians. I have family over there. I have a heart for Canadians.
And I'm similar to you, Jason. I've got some clients in Canada. I didn't do the research. I just sent them a link, and then they looked at it, they paid it, and it was full price. So, yeah. But I don't have family in Canada, so I didn't have heartstrings to be tug on either. Mm-hmm. So
now I will tell you, I had gotten one client over there, and from that one client, I got 2 others. So that's how I got my 3 clients over there.
Yeah.
So because I did that,
that makes me want to ask, why do we charge our clients?
Because you have to have a buy-in.
Okay. So why would you undersell that buy-in?
Over there, I'm way overcharging. The amount they pay for coaches over there is a lot less than what they pay for coaches over here. My price that I currently charge is one of the higher prices of coaches even over here, because I'm one of the more experienced coaches.
How do you know that you're overcharging them for their specific circumstance?
Because I've searched
The market.
I understand that there's a market difference. I get that. But for their specific circumstances, how did you know that you were overcharging them?
Based on the coaches that are over there currently.
They weren't reaching out to them. They were reaching out to you.
Right. But that I actually did the research because, like I said, I have a heart for Canadians.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a little bit different for Canada because I have family and I know a lot of people. Like, matter of fact, my family over there, I don't charge them anything. And that's one reason why coaches are not supposed to work with family, because there's no buy-in. They don't really care.
Right.
You know, just like Jesus. He said, you can't work with your own family. You help others, let somebody else help your own family out.
His brothers and sisters didn't even recognize him to be who he said he was.
Yeah. Yep. So
they wouldn't pay him money. He wouldn't ask for it either.
Yeah, and that's how it is. Like with my family, I wouldn't ask, and even if I did, they wouldn't pay.
Right.
You know, because they don't see me as that. They're like, you, a coach? Now they know I went through ICF training. They know I went through 2 years of schooling.
Yeah.
But they, even though they knew I went through the schooling, they don't see me as a coach.
You could be like as big as whatever, you know, Dave Ramsey or Tony Robbins, and it's like, you're a coach, right? Yeah. I mean, it's just like, no, you're David.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's two things that come to mind, right? One, David, it's your practice. You can choose whatever you want to do. You want to give a reduction, that's totally fine, right? The other is, you know, it's William, to answer your question, you know, why would you charge someone, right? You want them to be invested in themselves. You want them to say, I can do this. And it's through your guidance, right? Because they are the hero. We've already established that. You are the guide. And they are choosing to invest in themselves because they see what their future is like. Whether we paint the picture or they paint the picture, one way or another, they bought into that hope that it's going to be different than what they have now.
Amen. I love that. It's a brilliant answer. And it's the truth. It is a true answer. And it's why we're charging. If we're not charging for that, then we have some serious problems, I think, you know. And I could be the best coach ever known to man. You could be the best coach ever known to man. You could be the best coach ever known to man. But if there's no buy-in and they're not showing up for themselves, we're not going anywhere, are we? So that buy-in is very important. I love that, Jason. Yes, 100%. And, you know, it's just like the more that buy-in is, I think the more they're going to show up and take it seriously.
And, you know, I know this one coach. He's a very, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a very renowned, very high coach. You even mention his name and people flock to him. Now, he charges a really high rate. Among the Ramsey coaches, when you speak of this kind of a rate, they're like, what? It's like way up there, right? Now, if you want change through him, you're going to pay this. If you can't afford this, his coaches will charge you this. You know, and it's like you're making an investment in yourself. And the investment is going to strike a change because, you know, you hold value to what you've earned. I had this lady in my church one time, and she was told she had to donate so much, you know, money. And I'm not going to go into all the details, but like it was the last money she had, and she had to give food to her kids after service, and was instructed, you need to give this money in. So she did reluctantly, and she watched the offering plate the whole entire way. Well, after service, somebody came up and gave her the exact same amount, and then was told, you need to give this away. She said it was so much easier to give that away because it wasn't hers than the first one because it was hers. Now, the thing is, right when she went to her car, she had way more than what she ever gave, and so she was taken care of. But the moral of the story is this. If it's your hard-earned money, you've earned it, you feel every bit of that investment.
Come on.
If it was given to you, it's nothing. That is why somebody can give $1 million and somebody can give $5. And probably that $5 is worth more than that million. Because God doesn't look at the amount. He looks at the intent and the value behind it.
True.
So if that's all you had, that's worth a lot more than that million, because that was only a 10%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Reminds me of a story that Jesus told about the woman and the 2 coins. She gave all that she had, and she gave more than the other person. Right.
Yep.
Yep.
So, the biggest key is this, we set the investment level. Like for me, I have 2 different levels based on what your situation is. You're either this or this. Some coaches, this is my level right here. And then you decide, am I going to do that level or not? Now, I had, quite a while ago, I had a doctor, well worth and well able, and I wasn't charging as much as I am now. And he was well able to pay what I was charging. And he asked me, he said, would you take $50 a session? I laughed at him. And then, with the Ramsey coaches, we have a network, we talk, and, we have training and stuff like that. I went to one of the senior coaches. I gave the example of what happened in one of the training calls. And one of the senior coaches says, no, you should have taken it. I was like, what? Oh, yeah. However, this now becomes, you're going to use him for marketing research, and it's no longer going to be confidential. His information will be shared because you have to get your money's worth. And so I went back to him and I said, you know what, I'm sorry, I talked to some of my bosses, and they were like, no, I should take it. However, what a $50 coach looks like is this. Ooh. And I told him, you will be used for marketing. I didn't say you possibly can. I said you will be used for marketing.
Right.
Yep.
I will use your stories publicly, and you are no longer held. I will no longer hold your information confidential because it is marketing research.
Oh man, so that value's there. You're getting the value regardless.
And then he says, you can't do that. I was like, you're a doctor. Are you gonna if I come into your doctor's office, are you gonna discount the rate? No, you're going to charge me full price.
Yeah.
You can't ask a coach to give you a discounted rate. If you want an experienced coach, you're going to pay the experienced rate.
Right. Or you'll be a guinea pig.
Now, later on, we had another coach. Somebody asked them, they wanted to pay $50 per month for unlimited sessions. And the coach said, no, I don't need it. You can find another coach for that. They found another coach. The coach was desperate, and they took it. They dropped them and said they were such a pain, I should have never taken it. It was like a waste of money.
Well, who dropped them, the client or the coach?
The coach dropped the client because they were taking too much of their time for $50 a month.
Gotcha.
When the $50 alone was a way cut from their normal charge.
Right. And kind of going back to the fee, the price. It's our filter, and also it allows our client to take themselves seriously and to show up and to think about the coaching sessions, to watch the recordings, right? To dive deeply into our systems and processes on our websites and fill out the forms and do all the stuff, that's outside of the sessions that we have to offer. That price has got to be there. There's no getting around it. Or marketing research, the guinea pig,
Well,
there's
a lot of things that's involved. One, all the training you have to go through. Not only the session, but there's a lot of work that goes into the client besides session, right?
That's what people don't get. People don't realize that.
So there's a lot that gets involved, but the thing is you have to remember this. You're going to an experienced coach. Or if you're not, that's fine. But the biggest thing you have to remember is, typically speaking, you want to give 5 to 10% of your income into personal development.
Sure.
So whatever you're making, you should be sowing at least that much money into yourself.
Right.
That's what a coach is. He is that personal development investment.
Right.
You are investing into him to give personal development for yourself.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. If we don't love ourselves, if we're not working on ourselves and treating ourselves objectively like our neighbor, doing things that are good for ourselves, like personal development, How are we going to give something away we don't have? We can't. It's impossible. I don't care what kind of argument there is, right? And I don't think there will be any argument here, but I'm sure there's somebody, watching that's like, whatever.
But
like,
the funny thing
I want them on. I want them here.
Funny thing is, think of it this way. As a Christian, we say, well, we want to be a blessing. And we all understand we have to be blessed in order to be a blessing. We all can agree with that. However, let's take that same concept with several areas. As a coach, in order to be effective, you should have a coach. If you're preaching that people need to have a coach, you need to have a coach, right? Ooh, now I'm starting to hurt some waters right now. In the same light, we take that in other areas, right? We need to practice what we preach. Now I'm stepping on a lot of waters here. But didn't Jesus flip the tables and yell at the Pharisees for being hypocrites, for saying one thing and doing the opposite? Isn't that a big thing that we need to do in everything? Practice what you preach. If you are going to be a blessing, you need to be blessed. If you are going to be healthy to help others, you need to be healthy. If you're going to help somebody put on an oxygen mask in an airplane that's crashing, you need to put yours on first, right? These are just normal practices that have to happen. Practice what you preach. How can you do it if you don't do it yourself? Just saying.
Yeah, I found that the more personal development that I do for myself, it shows up in ways either subconsciously or consciously in the coaching sessions or the consultations, because you're drawing from something that's not just from you, it's from the network of people and the team of people that you have behind yourself. When I go to a networking event, people are like, hey, so what is it that you do? Well, we help families do this. What do you mean we? Oh, I got a team of people. I got a whole community of people you don't even know about. So even though you see me on the Zoom call or in the room, you're meeting with all the other people I just met last week or last month, right, or meeting with weekly, right? Because the more that they pour into me, the more I can pour out, and I will persist until I succeed.
Yeah, I like it.
And it's key because almost a year ago, we have an event with Ramsey that's called Enrichment. And I went in Enrichment. I had this idea of what I wanted to do. And I was persisting until I succeeded because I was doing it the wrong way. I did a few things, not proper, but I was thinking the right way, just didn't have the know-how. Went to Enrichment, networked with the right people, learned the proper way. I was very persistent so that I could succeed. And so the key is sometimes we use that networking so we can learn what we need to know. Everybody has all the skills. We just need to know which ones has the skills that we need and which ones are going to share it. Because one of the tricks that I've learned, if people are above you, they are willing to lift you up because they want to bring you to their level. If people are beneath you, jealousy and envy steps in and they want to pull you down. I would rather be with these people to elevate me than to be with these people and fight my way just to stay afloat.
Yeah. And whenever we commune with omniscience himself, God, it's like we get to this higher place. A story that you told that's coming to mind right now, you said that you had a time with God. It was a one-on-one with God of sorts, and you were struggling. You're one hell of a guy. You struggle and you keep going and you never complain, and I respect you for that. And you said that God lifted you up into the clouds, not literally, but just had a supernatural moment with him. You had a vision, and God said what?
Anytime you have a problem, come up here and your problem's beneath you.
That's powerful.
Yeah, that was when I was in meditation, and God actually used that. My eyes were closed, and I was clearing my mind, and he actually used that. My body felt like I was separating. I was still here, but I felt like I was up here.
Yeah.
And I seen like I was in the clouds.
Yeah, that's powerful. And I've had a lot of experiences in worship where I've heard angelic voices and singing along with us, powerful, feel God's presence thick. And commune with omniscience. You can tell. You can tell they're not trying to get stuff from it. I just watched a movie called The Forge, and it's a powerful movie. I highly recommend it. There was one line in there. It's about a young man that gets surrounded by a group of older men that's showing him the way, And his mentor looked at him and said, try not to be a drain, be a fountain. And that is what we get to do when we have communion with omniscience. And, and check it out, we keep going. The hope of glory, Christ within us, when we come together as sons of God and daughters of God. That's what we get to do.
Now, of which I have a question for you, Jason. What was that name of that book again?
The Greatest Salesman in the World.
And who is
Og
it?
Mandino.
And what was the quote?
I will persist until I succeed.
That's 9. That's 9, right? I've been counting, okay? No more.
No, the competition to see how many we can get in it, but we probably won't.
No, it was 9.
But anyhow, my question to you is, with that quote, what was that quote again?
Oh,
hold on. I'm going for a purpose.
Don't go for it. Don't take the bait. This guy, he's just trying to get on me now.
What was that quote again?
I will persist until I succeed.
So how are you persisting in your success in this call?
Right now, I am recalling a lot of the earlier conversation, the middle of the conversation, and where we're at now. And I am fully present in hearing both of your thoughts, both of your concepts. And I'm already thinking about how I can apply that into the next conversation that I have with somebody I'm either going to follow up with or a brand new person that I'm going to be meeting with, and utilizing that and embodying these new habits so that I can show up differently and more powerfully and more confidently no matter who I'm going to be meeting with the next time around.
This guy's going places.
And so my next question is that keeping that same quote in mind, and with your vision, we didn't have time to go into your vision here, but with your vision that you have for your life, and I don't even know what it is, other than your house that's on a very small acreage.
And the kids playing outside, not having to worry about a bath.
But with that in mind, how are you going to persist until you succeed in your vision?
It all starts today and tomorrow and the next day. But it's forming habits, not being okay with mediocrity. It's, I need to pick up that phone and dial one more person because I only hit 9 calls and I need to have 10 calls because it takes about 10 calls for me to get a hold of one person. And even if it's that one person that schedules that one call, that follow-up, that consultation, each and every day, I always have to do that one more. I can get home when I get home, but until I set out what I was going to do that day, I will immediately think that is a failure, and failure is not an option because the rest of my family is dependent on the choices that I make today. And if I choose to slack off, that means I'm slacking off on that vision that we all have for what our future would look like. And so it all starts with right now and today.
That's right. And I love how you said one more. You didn't stop at one more. You said it a few times. Just like I tell people all the time, it's like when you have a coach and you're on the bench and you're one more. Come on. How many one mores do I have to do? One more.
There it is.
And then he has to pick the bar up and put it up.
Yeah.
It's pushing until you have no more, right? Yeah. Now, speaking of that, to everybody out there, that one more is at hand, okay? we thank each and every person for coming here, but I have to mention one thing. For all those coaches out there, we have a community that is free for all coaches, and it's going to give you that one more step.
Yeah.
We are here to make sure that you succeed. And that community is the first step for all coaches, because like Jason was talking about being connected with coaches so that you are able to be more efficient and more helpful to your clients because you have a team of coaches. When you lack in something, you have a coach that is successful. For instance, we're teamed up with a powerful person that used to work with the IRS. So when people are having tax issues, they can go to that person.
Right.
Having connections with coaches of all kinds. This is also the reason, Jason, why when we first started, I asked you, what, besides a financial coach, what other coach are you? We all have skills.
Sure.
And this community is going to bring all the skills together.
Yeah.
Second of all, for the coaches out there that struggle, when I first came in, I was always sitting out there looking for the program that would hold everything.
Everything.
And it took me many years to find it. It has been found.
Yeah.
It is there for you. It's called the Absolute CRM, and that's there for you as well. You can join in on that, and it'll give you a whole platform, and it'll help you out. It'll even give you the snapshot that's made by coaches for coaches to get you in the right running right off the bat. Right. It doesn't take much time to get going as long as you do that.
Yeah.
On top of that, we also have a power connection for coaches.
Yeah.
And this is completely free. It's for all coaches to be connected where they can get that strength, that ability to have power and be built up so that they can give out. If you're constantly giving out, then you have to be filled in as well.
Amen.
And Kimberly, we see you, and we want to acknowledge you. As we are checking out, we do see that she is, she says, Facing Giants.
Facing the Giants, a film by Alex Kindred, the same one that did The Fireproof, Courageous.
One more yard.
One more, yeah. He's doing the bear crawl. There he was. He was doing the bear crawl with a little kicker on his back, he's 140 pounds. And he did the whole field. He did the whole field.
Right.
He didn't know where he was on the field, but he did the whole field. That's a powerful scene, Kimberly. I'm glad that you said that.
So we're stretching it out for everybody out there right there. We are here for you.
Yeah.
Just show up, be there, and be there for other coaches.
Amen.
We appreciate you being here, Jason. We look forward to the next time you can come on here.
Yep.
And all the coaches out there, we look forward to seeing you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. But before we go, I got one final thing to say. Tomorrow's a very special day for those that have a significant other.
That's right.
The opposite sex only. Make sure you do something special for them.
Yeah.
It is Valentine's Day.
Right.
I know some of us guys, sometimes we forget days like this, so we need reminders.
That's right. Here's your reminder.
Make sure you take care of your, for the guys, take care of your ladies.
Yeah.
For the ladies, take care of your guys.
That's right.
Okay?
Us guys like flowers too.
We like chocolate. I'm a fat guy. Come on now. Dude. Jason, any final words?
Whatever you're going through, this too shall pass.
That's right. Well,
whether it's positive or negative.
That's right. We thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.